I can't take it anymore. I can't take it anymore, man. They literally keep making mistake after mistake after mistake. And this is a team-killing move that they've made. And we just stink. We have no clue whatsoever. And, yeah. And that's the way it is. If you listen to the talking heads out here, this is amazing to me because James, shout out to you, James, tweeted at me yesterday. Mark, you know what I find funny? How the media has done nothing but shit all over this trade. Because let us be clear, if he went anywhere else, this would be an awesome trade. He wouldn't hear nothing about it. We wouldn't hear him being a team cancer. Yeah. This is the truth. That they literally kill us for any move that we make. And it's funny because so many people have this whole perspective of, well, the Cowboys didn't do anything to get better. Cowboys did not do anything. And they discount that we brought in a guy who had 10.5 sacks last year, Dante Fowler. Now, they killed us last year when we let him go. Oh, this is a huge mistake. You know, you figure that they would say, oh, the Cowboys righted that mistake. They brought back Dante Fowler, right? No, you don't hear that. You don't hear about the moves to take care of linebacker, you know, where we've actually got a lot of linebackers now with experience that, you know, Elam, maybe he's disappointed, but he's a starting caliber cornerback. And let's not forget about the draft. I have to look at this and say, from where I've been, that this is a great offseason. And lo and behold, here it is. You know, they're rating wide receiver duos. Cowboys can't drop the top five. I think if you take, you know, the last 2 years of almost 3,000 yards of CeeDee Lamb and about 2,000 yards for Pickens, you have to look at that and say they got 5,000 yards of production between the two of them the last 2 years, and you're putting them together. And that was without either of them having, you know, a legitimate number 2 threat. But, of course, that gets poo-pooed on. Listen to this. And I want to go through because my interesting take is how the NFL is looking at the moves and free agents that are happening and see where they rank it. Listen to this jackass.
Yeah, listen, I think this is far more dynamic and fun for the Cowboys, but the word at the bottom of the screen says interesting. I think it's way more interesting for the Pittsburgh Steelers because leads us to the question of where are you headed? What is the plan? Where are we going to end up week 1 in September? Because you guys know how I feel about this. Wherever you're headed, I'm in. I'm always in on the Steelers. I will never abandon them. They don't do filler seasons. They don't do 6-11 seasons. They will find a way to 10-7 or 9-8. You know it and I know it. I don't care who they get rid of. And yet I still don't know what the hell the plan is. If the plan is for Rodgers, then you just severed a huge piece of talent with which to carry a 41-year-old quarterback who's going to need it. If the plan's not for Rodgers and it's some holy crap, we're actually going with Mason Rudolph thing, which I know there are some Steelers fans who say, screw it, let's do it, then you need as much talent to carry him. So I don't know what the plan is with quarterbacks still, just like you do. And just when we think couldn't get weirder that the Steelers don't have a quarterback, they get rid of one of their best receivers. However, I said I'm in. I'm still in. And I'm in because I respect their conviction in saying, we don't want a future with this player. And we've been around the block a few times. Anyone who is confused or chagrined that they let go of George Pickens, I would ask you the question, during the Mike Tomlin era, can you think of a couple of guys, especially at wide receiver, that they have let go or moved on from who have gone on to do tremendous things in their next stop? I can't. I can think of the other guys. I can think of Chase Claypool, Deontay Johnson, and certainly Antonio Brown, who eventually,
didn't he win a Super Bowl with Tampa?
The Steelers said, I think that's enough.
Didn't he?
They move on, and it's not like they make the Steelers look terrible for moving on with them about how could you let go of this player. The Steelers have a good sense of who that player is and are they a future Steeler. They're showing their hand right now that a guy that they drafted and were in position to pay this year if they wanted to, no, we are out. So since we're out, what the hell? Let's hook somebody who doesn't know this guy like we do, and let's get some value, let's get some draft picks, let's do all of that. Now, don't tell me that they're planning for the future. There is no future with the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's always about the now. So this is not a filler season in 2025 that they're going to have draft picks next year, blah, blah, blah. They got to get those 9 or 10 wins this year, as they will. I'm curious as to how they're going to do it, but I want it very clear. When the playoff picking time comes up.
So, nothing. You can't even say, hey, this is a good move for the Cowboys. Taking a risk, trying to fill in the hole. Nothing. Nothing. He's a bum. He's a loser. He's a cancer. And I'm getting that the idea of GMs laughing about a trade for Antonio Brown, I'm betting that's kind of bullshit. I'm betting that's some made-up crap. But here, this is the most impactful moves for the NFL this offseason. Number one most impactful move is Geno Smith, traded from Seattle for a third-round pick. As far as a big-ticket quarterback acquisition goes, this move might have lacked the zest of, say, landing Matthew Stafford. Smith's not only going to be instantly infused to a team with Super Bowl buzz, he's not going to be. He's not even locked to even finish in the top 25, to finish in the top 10 players at the position. But is that bad? So that's the number one most impactful move? Geno Smith, and you're saying, yeah, he probably won't even be in the top 10 quarterbacks. Okay, number two, Laramie Tunsil, traded to the Commanders for a third and seventh round picks, a second and a fourth. A year ago, Tunsil was on the Texas team and has been catapulted to relevance by stunning rookie success, a former number 2 overall pick. He has a strong sense of deja vu, though, with the Commanders, and must be hoping it's not too strong. Okay, all right. So we're saying Laramie Tunsil is the second biggest impactful move. Okay. Joe Tunley, traded from Kansas City to the Bears. Funny thing is, they don't even go into detail why it is. He was traded for a fourth-round pick. To the Bears, Rams offensive guard Jonathan Jackson, a guard, is considered the fourth biggest move. Traded from the Rams to the Bears. You're going to tell me that all of these moves are bigger moves than what we're seeing? So at number five most impactful move, after constantly saying Dak Prescott needs a second weapon, that he hasn't had a second weapon since 3 years ago, 2021, that the Cowboys offense isn't a modern offense, that they are literally playing with one arm tied behind their back because they don't have a number 2 wide receiver, and they go out and get a guy who has almost 3,000 yards in his first 3 seasons. And they picked him up for a third. And it's not going to be as good as an offensive guard going? Okay. In each of the past 3 seasons in Dallas, you could count on 2 things. CeeDee Lamb compiling at least 150 targets, 101 catches, and 1,100 yards receiving. And number 2, no other Cowboy player even sniffing those totals. Pickett should finally give Dak Prescott a second reliable option at wideout, making new coach Brian Schottenheimer's chance of returning his squad to competitiveness in the NFC look much sturdier than it did before this deal was consummated. So, were the other teams playing was Washington playing without a left tackle? Were the Bears playing without a guard? You just literally said, we have not had a reliable target other than CeeDee Lamb. And so you're going to say that all these other moves are bigger? You're going to say that that Geno Smith won't crack the top 10 in quarterback, and there's no flash here, no chance for them to really do much anything there. Kind of like just serving, hold and serve. And that's the most impactful move, Geno going there? Okay, I just checking. So we've got the doom and gloom on the Dallas Cowboys because they made the worst mistake in the world. Now, at least they say that that's more impactful than DK, because DK is at 6 going to Washington. But if you take collectively DK and Laramie Tunsil going to Washington, then this shouldn't even be a race. That Washington has improved huge with 2 of the top 6 most impactful moves. And number 7, Deebo Samuels. Oh, I'm sorry, DK. I got it backwards. I'm sorry. DK going to Steelers. I got it backwards. Deebo going to Washington is 7. So you're saying Deebo going to Washington at 7, that's almost as impactful as Pickens going to the Cowboys? Seriously? And here's where it's funny. I was initially going to rank Samuels higher, maybe even with the Tunsil, swayed by the name brand and some of the basic dot connecting about how his defense wrecking potential will pair with Jaden Daniels' playmaking ability. But there are other peskier dots to factor in that equation, like Samuel's career low, 8.7 yards per touch in 24, and the amount of time that has elapsed since he's been a Pro Bowler. Okay. But yet, you say that's number 7. Okay. All right. I'm going to end it right there. This is just some bull crap. If the Cowboys do it, it's terrible. If somebody else does it, it's a great thing. As always, I appreciate y'all. Peace out.